Oh, g'day everyone, it's Warren from NQ Explorers. I'm out on a doing what I love the best. I'm on a World War II relic hunt. This camp we have visited on many occasions in the past, Colleen and I, but it's been many years since I've been in here. I know the layout of it pretty well. I've found a lot of relics over the years, but grass is always an issue, but I expected that, not a problem. I've got an AT Max today with a Nell sharpshooter, 9.5-inch double D, which is perfectly suited to this area. The beauty of these camps is that they have never been used. This bushland has never been used since World War II, so no modern relics, no ring pulls to bother you, no modern pesky 2-cent coins. Anyway, we're going to have a scratch around for a few hours, see if we can dig up some World War II history and respect the memory of the men that served, lived and worked in this camp in World War II. Okay, we're on the board with our first World War II relic. Solid 79, typical of these camps. Tarpaulin grommet. Got to dig those numbers. So I've got about 40 points of iron set on the AT Max. Not really interested in the iron targets. I'll just cherry pick the 50s and above. There's my next target, it's a 303. I'd say that's a live round that's exploded in a bushfire subsequent to the army pulling out in 44. That's obviously not fired, it's just exploded. So I probably just dumped all the live rounds in the grass and walked out. I just all wanted to go home. Nice World War II relic. Right, what we've got here is this, a trench, which is a World War II latrine. You can see some of the reinforcing mesh that was on top of the ground. It usually had 3 44-gallon drums. There's 3 thunder boxes sitting on top. So latrine area here. Up in there somewhere, I know, I haven't been here for a few years, but there's the stone foundations of a camp kitchen chimney and the camp down through this area. So where there's latrines, we won't be very far from the lines. There are just tent lines here. Okay, I've just come through that way. Down in this forested area with these fir trees, there's a little less grass. So it's quite detectable, as you can see. We're coming to a little area of World War II activity. We've got some large iron washers, function unknown, and over here a huge grommet. That may be off a huge tarpaulin or a really big tent. Oh, and look here, there's an enamel mug, squashed and rusted. Okay, so well, there's a big hole over there. That could be another latrine. We'll just hang around here for a while and see what we can come up with. Well, I've just gone in a big circle around that way. Not really much to report. But now I've come to the spot with this old gum tree. There's some scratchy signals around. You'd assume this tree was here when the army was in the 40s. And just here, deep in this bark litter that's come off the side of the tree in the last 80 years, I've got an 80 signal. I'll just give you the audio off the machine. It's quite small and tight. Don't think this is going to be a 303 cartridge. Right there. So we'll just have a little gentle scratch. It's going to be down in this topsoil layer, obviously. I'll probably move it now. Oh, I've moved it up in it. See how hot that ground is. There's the target there. Got something heavy here. And this is it. That's definitely the target. I think it's lead. Wow, that's heavy. Okay, well, this is a good sign. The soldiers are right here. For some reason they've melted a bit of lead. Maybe to go fishing down in the river, I don't know what's going on with this. But that's not bad. Okay, just came across the camp kitchen. I knew this was in here, but I just took a while to stumble across it because of the grass situation, as you can see. That's the remnants of the mess chimney. World War II 44-gallon drum left behind. So all the tent lines down through here. You just got to wander into the hot spots. Haven't really found one yet. I found, you know, scattered relics here and there, and 303 holes everywhere. Just got to find where there was a tent lines. I know there's some in that direction. We'll go that way. Well, I've just come circled from around this direction. That's where I've been detecting for the last hour and a half. Nothing sensational yet. A couple of grommets and tons of 303s that I'm not showing you, holes. Exploded holes mostly from bushfires. And then I came up this little gentle slope and I started to get targets. Iron targets and rubbish and scratchy targets and more 303s. And I've just come across this. This is a concrete slab. An ablution block slab. You can see there's the corner there, it's broke or busted up, but that's a concrete slab there. So we've got tent lines all around here. This is the central ablution area for showers, and we've seen a couple of the thunderbox, the long drops. Always keep heading up this slope. There's an old army track up in there, not used anymore. It's pretty overgrown now. I mean, it's a long time since we've been here. Colleen and I have done a lot of trips in here. Found a lot of stuff. Not so much today yet, but we're getting there. So we'll head up this way. Okay, it's cooled down a bit. We've got a shower of rain coming across, just drifting through. Probably a bit of rain expected this afternoon. Anyway, I finally cracked it for a reasonable target after about an hour of being quiet. Now I've just come past that ablution block slab you saw, and I've dug up a round object. Now, this was really scratchy from the surface. It was obviously sitting vertically, and it's about 8 inches down in the grass. I've dug it up. I didn't do a live dig. But anyway, let's have a look at what we've got here. Looks like we've got ourselves a World War II penny. And that was deep. Look at that. Love it. World War II penny. Hey, it looks like it's... Is it a Commonwealth penny? I won't clean it till it dries out. I'll get a still photograph which I'll put up at the end of this little sequence. That's a World War II penny, Australian penny, dropped by an Australian soldier 80 years ago. He was the last one to touch it. Hope he made it home safe from the war. Ripper. Okay, there it is. It's dried a bit. Now I've just pushed that lump of dirt off that you saw when I recovered it. KG5, beautiful Australian 1 penny, Commonwealth penny. Beautiful patina under there. I'll get a date anyway. I'll get a close-up. That's beautiful. That's going to be a penny in really nice condition. Well, let's concentrate on this area where we got this penny. I'm getting targets in this area where I wasn't getting down in the lower down the slope. And I've just got a nice World War II relic here. It's a bit of webbing. And let's have a look at it now. Here, just pulled it out of the hole. That's off a webbing belt. One of the retainers, brass. Beautiful. Well, that's where the webbing belt brass just came out. Haven't backfilled the hole because got a similar signal in the hole. So there's probably more of it there. But it's got a mate. Oh, wait a minute, what's this? Can you see that? Might be a bit of cutlery or something. Is it a handle off a spoon? Or something? No? Oh no, it's not solid, it's another piece of webbing off the same belt, no doubt. Look like the end of a World War II teaspoon. Nice, okay. Well, let's just check the hole again before we go. We'll just do a pinpointer. That's it. 2 pieces of webbing out of the one hole. Webbing belt brass. Genuine World War II webbing. Great to have that on the board. So when I said earlier about respecting the memory of the men that lived and worked in this camp during World War II, an important point. When the 7th and 9th Division and the 6th Division came back from the North African campaign, the 8th Division was in Southeast Asia and Singapore, and it was basically surrendered intact to the Japanese, much to the chagrin of the men involved. Many of them didn't fire a shot. You know, it was just that capitulation by General Percival in Singapore that basically sentenced them to all those years of horror in Japanese prisoner of war camps. But anyway, 7th and 9th Division. 9th Division was at El Alamein, North Africa, part of the 8th Army fighting the Africa Corps. 7th Division was in Syria, and I believe the 6th Division was in Greece, but it was pulled out of Greece when that fell to the Germans. So what you had was, when we had the threat to Northern Australia, and this was the big fight between Curtin and Churchill. Churchill wanted to retain the Australian divisions in the Middle East because they were seasoned veterans and they were very good at what they did. Tobruk being a good example, and El Alamein. He wanted them to stay there, but of course Curtin, well, we're directly threatened now. The Japanese are on the Kokoda track. We've got militia up there fighting the Kokoda battle, and the 2nd AIF is on an expeditionary force over in the Middle East. Anyway, so long story short, we get the AIF back. They fight the campaigns in New Guinea, and then they're withdrawn when the Japanese are defeated at Bunagona, back to Australia for R&R and training and replenishment, because they were fairly depleted at this stage. But the thing is, these were seasoned, the core of this divisions, the officers and the senior NCOs were seasoned combat veterans from the Middle East. And then what happened was very frustrating. They came to these camps and they spent nearly a year here training and sitting around digging holes and filling them back in, because MacArthur did not want the Australian Army involved in the liberation of the Philippines. That was their intended, the Australian government intended that they would go forward on the island campaign with the Americans and the Marines, liberate the Philippines, but MacArthur said no, Americans only in the Philippines. So the Australian Army had 3, like I said, combat hardened divisions, infantry divisions, and supporting artillery and everything else, sitting here for nearly 12 months. So all of 1944, they basically sat on their bums in these camps. Very frustrating for the diggers involved. I mean, in the end, I guess it saved Australian lives because they weren't in combat. But when they went into combat, it was very controversial. They were used in the Australian Army's last big amphibious landings in Labuan, Balikpapan, and Porton and places like that, Bougainville. And these were very controversial campaigns because basically they were mopping up operations against a Japanese army that was depleted, still had plenty of fighting in it, but they were isolated because the war had moved further north as the Americans island hopped. And really the garrisons on these island locations would have starved to death anyway. They just had to, because they had no way of transporting food and ammunition to these armies, because the Allies dominated the Southeast Asia Pacific. The Japanese couldn't get ships through. So unfortunately these men sat here for almost 12 months and they finally went back into combat, controversial combat, right towards the end of the war, when it was fairly obvious that the war was going to end in 1945, because it ended a lot more suddenly than everyone expected. But yeah, that was the story with the men that were in here. So we had seasoned, hardened combat veterans, frustrated, sitting in this bush right where I am, probably sitting on this very rock, eating a hot meal out of a Dixie, when they all they wanted to do was go back into the war and defeat the Japanese army. Anyway, that's a little bit of history for this spot. Frustrating and interesting at the same time. Anyway, let's get back and find some more relics. This is pretty good. Pretty solid. I don't think that's a 303. It's might not be high enough to be a penny, but it's variable, so things can sit at weird angles, can't they? Anyway, we'll go a live dig, get embarrassed by what we're about to demonstrate. That's right there. Got to get in position here. There's guinea grass, which I've been battling all morning. It's going to be really quite this DK granite here. It actually preserves the relics well because it's so well drained. I don't see anything move there, but maybe you did. Oh, what's this? It's a bit of brass rod, hence the signal varying a bit because of the double D hitting at different angles. Yeah, that was a solid target, wasn't it? Not sure what the function of that is though. Definitely World War II. Well, I'm going to wrap it up there, everyone. Good little day out in the bush. Got a nice old penny, an old KG5, some World War II relics in the form of the webbing brass, lots of 303s, exploded 303 holes and projectiles. I didn't show you all those. Rediscovered the old concrete slabs in the kitchen chimney, which was nice. So yeah, I had a bit of an adventure. Good day in the bush. Thanks for watching and happy fossicking. Bye for now.